That's an eternity of basketball ahead of us. Another beautiful steal perpetrated by Todd White. The action continues. The let's go situation here. Alexei Deacon going up against another team. Jeffrey Moore has perfect access to the bucket. What you saw from that normal replay of that last bit of action was Juan Fernandez actually wanting to take up the against Master Jaworski. We're crossing the twilight zone. That's an eternity of basketball ahead of us.
Probably seemed like an eternity for all of you, but here we are. This is an eternity of basketball. We remind you we're part of the Globally Ballin Network. On the Globally Ballin Network, they have a show called Who the Heck Are We? Their latest episode with Boyet Season.
Who the heck is that?
Latest episode. Who the heck is he? You'll find out if you watch that episode. You can also catch Hang Time with Denise Densay, her most recent episode with Ayel Estranero. Volleyball naman ang usapan sa show na yan ni Denise Densay. That's also the Globally Ballin Network, where you can find original articles, audio and video projects. Shows available on YouTube, of course. One of them is AEOB, so catch us on the Globally Ballin Network. We're on YouTube. You need to subscribe to our channel on the Globally Ballin Network channel, because all our episodes, except for the 5 most recent ones, will only be on the Globally Ballin YouTube channel. So dyan nyo mapapanood ang AEOB. And this is important. Globally Ballin Southeast Asia. You need to follow that on Facebook. Follow that page because we have clips of our past shows posted on that Globally Ballin Southeast Asia Facebook page. So, paki-follow po yung page na yan. And Linktree/Globally Ballin leads you to all of that. That's the link you need to get to everything on the Globally Ballin Network. So here we are today. It's episode 77. How apt, because 7 is Jaworski's number. Double 7, that's double Jaworski. We're talking about Ginebra. And this guy was part of Ginebra back in the late 80s. A fan favorite. Very popular kasi when you play for a program like San Beda, which is known for its basketball program, and then you go to Ginebra, which is known for being the most popular team in the league, you become a fan favorite, and he was. They would cheer his name, whether he started or he came off the bench. And now, because we're a bit late, so we'll get into it. We have Noel Zarate with us, and of course, Sid Ventura. Ako naman po si Charlie Cuna, our guest for today. You've been waiting for him. You've been excited since we announced it last Wednesday. Mukesh, Mike Advani is with us on the show. Mike, welcome to the show, partner.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, Charlie, Noel, and Sid. And sorry about the technical issues.
That's right. No, everybody, we had our technical difficulties as we posted on the page. Some of you were asking, bakit wala pang AEOB? Andito na kami. Ito na yung ating show. Okay na. Umpisahan na natin yung kwentuhan natin, Mike. Let's talk about some basketball, your journey in basketball. Yes. I was talking to you the other day. You're Filipino by citizenship, right? You're Pinoy. You were born here in the Philippines. Tama. That's right. No, but you are of full. Yes, you are. Yeah, we can hear you. But you are of full Indian descent. Both your parents are from India. Tell us about that story, your background ng pamilya mo.
Yeah. Well, my grandparents came here in the 20s. That's the side of my mom, the mom's side. And so all of them were born here from the side of my mother. That's the Sewani side. Mm-hmm. And then my mother married, when she got married, she was in India and she decided to come back. Okay. Then I was born here, and eventually there was a presidential decree for foreigners to become Filipinos. So my mom took advantage of that. And then in the process, when I turned 18, automatically I became a Filipino.
Okay.
So that's how I became a Philippine citizen, and then we're basically third generation here.
Mm-hmm. And your family's based in Manila, di ba? Ever since, sabi mo, in the city of Manila.
Ever since Manila.
And you're still there until now, no? Manila boy ka pa rin.
Yes, forever. Filipinas
talaga. No, pero okay, I'll start it out. No, basketball became your sport. You played pro eventually, but how did you get started into basketball? It's not a sport that's popular with the Indian population, at least in India, no? Alam ko dito sa Pilipinas, sikat na sikat ang basketball because you even have the Philippine Indian leagues and all of that. And I've actually played against them back in the 80s as well. Pero paano ka na-introduce sa basketball? Were you influenced by family members? Was it your dad? Your I don't know if you have elder brothers of that. Paano nag-umpisa yung journey mo in basketball?
Well, I think it was more from the television, and then the biggest influence was when an uncle of mine took me and his son to a basketball game, the Rizal Memorial.
Okay.
I think it was an Eco Crispa game. That kind of opened my eyes and the liking of playing basketball, and I would just insist that I get a ball in a ring and start playing. As a kid, that was my request. They could buy me one. So basically, that was the beginning, and I would just play ball daily. And as I grew up, it became already a passion, and parang you're addicted to the game, and basically you fall in love with the game, just like all basketball players.
That's right. Speaking of addiction, Noel, you have a question for Mike.
No, I was just wondering who your early influences were naman. You said that you watched a game in Rizal Memorial. It was an Eco Crispa game. Sino ang nakita mo doon na, uy, gusto ko maging parang ganun ah? Who was the first player that you actually said, I want to be just like that guy?
There were guys like Mike Bilbao, in the Eco game. I think at that time, Rene Canen, all those. I can't remember really all the other players, but I was mostly looking at the guard. I don't know what it was. I just found them. It was like such an interesting position for a basketball player to be carrying the team and leading them, calling out the plays. So as I grew, it was always the point guard that I was always looking at.
Yeah.
Right. Did you play football also, like most of the other kids during your time, or was it just really basketball from the start?
Hello.
Did you hear that question, Mike? Hello?
Hi, guys.
Hello? Yeah, could you hear us again? Okay, looks like we lost Mike. Yeah. Okay, can you hear us now?
Yes.
All right.
Very cool.
Yeah, my question was, did you play football as well, like the other kids during your time, or was it just basketball? Because I remember your footwork was kind of different also. So did you play football like the other kids?
Not really. I never got into football. Maybe I just played a little tennis. That's about it.
Okay. Tennis, okay.
Yeah. Well, footwork din ang tennis. Mike, my question lang is, bedan ka from the start, right? Grade school pa lang, you were in San Beda.
I was telling Charlie the other day, most of my uncles from my mother's side were all from San Beda. So in those days, parang automatically, if family members are from a certain school, you end up going there. And plus we lived very near. We lived, there's some residential areas around Malacanang. So that's where I kind of grew up. So it was.
So you were there not for a basketball scholarship. Talagang bedan ka. You chose to be San Beda because of family, affiliation.
And then as you grew up, you start watching the games. Then you get influenced, and then when San Beda loses, you feel sad. You feel brokenhearted. So that was all. Then it became more of there's this burning desire that you said, one day I hope I can play for the team. So it becomes an inspiration, basically, that you want to get into that. So when I reached high school, so it was grade school up to high school. So when I reached high school, I just, had to build the guts to go and try out. So that's
how big of a figure was Ato Badulato during that time?
Oh, he was huge. Well, in our time, that was just parang his beginning of his success. I think when we won the high school championship during my time, that was in 1978 or 79. I think that was his second championship. if I'm
Second pa
not
lang,
mistaken. Yeah, but it was his first sweep. So we won every game we played. That
Wow.
was my senior year in high school.
The legend
Wow.
of Ato. The legend of Ato was just starting during that time, no?
Correct.
Kasi tuloy sa 80s talagang pinakyaw na ng ng San Beda lahat nung championship onwards, no? So but then pero so you said nga point guard ang position that you wanted. So from day one, what's the earliest anong grade ka when you started that you can remember when you were bringing the ball down and calling plays and setting up your teammates?
Well,
How early was
in
that?
reality, I started as a center in midget.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
kind of started late because I was always afraid to try out in grade school. But I just play with friends and all that every weekend.
Mhm.
What,
And
what was
also,
what was the thing that was keeping you from trying out, Mike? I mean, you wanted to be part of the team, but what held you back from trying out? Why were you afraid to try out?
well, maybe maybe I was insecure about my talent, if I was good enough. All those things that runs through your head as a kid.
Mhm.
Because none of my parents was that. There's a lot of kids where the parents sinasama,
Mhm.
try out ka or laro ka. I didn't have anything of that. Everything came from my own desires. That
Mhm.
burning desire to play.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
So I had
Okay.
to build that confidence and say, sige, let me just. I think I was already in second year high school when I tried out.
Ganun na. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
and it was already the team was formed, and then they decided since Ato had a lot of talent, he came up with a team B, but we played
Mm.
in the C league. So
Okay.
I tried out there. So we were like the second team of that division, the midgets.
Mhm.
That's why I end up being center, and because of my age, I made the age limit.
Uh-huh. What
Yeah,
what
so I
league
end
did you
up being
join? Was
center.
this Prada? Was this Paya or ano na? NC na?
Uh, I don't know what it's called. I don't know if it's
Mhm.
Paya or I did. I know if I'm not sure if they had another name for it.
Yeah.
Scouting
Mhm.
team or something like that.
Yeah. Tagal na
All the
rin nun, eh.
games were held in LaSalle Green Hills at that time.
Mhm. Sa dome.
Mm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the early leagues. But by the way, one of your teammates from high school, Joey Loizaga, is watching us right now, and it says, "Hi, Mike, doing good."
Yeah.
Huh?
Hi,
Si Joey
Joey.
Lois.
Joey was a very big influence in my playing career. Of course, when we became teammates in high school, you also get exposed to his family, to his dad, his
Mhm.
brother. So they became an inspiration also. So it was a
Well,
big boost of
yeah.
confidence.
Si Joey ka batch mo, di ba? You guys are batchmates in San Beda.
We were batchmates, yeah, in high school, but we never end up being classmates.
Okay.
Mm.
That, that, but
Mag-section
that's,
parate.
that's probably a good thing, no? Na hindi kayo nagsama sa isang klase. Di ba? Baka
Oh,
nagkagulo nun.
you have another former teammate slash coach watching. Rino Salazar is also watching right now.
Oh, my favorite, Coach Rino.
Yeah.
How was it in Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to your high school career, Mike, so you were with Joey Loizaga. Sino pa kayo? Sino pa yung mga kasama mong nag-varsity nun especially when you swept when you were a senior?
We had guys like the cousin of Charlie, Bliss Cuna, who's a banker now. We had Juancho Cordero, Billy Frauendorf, Banjo Lazaro, Banjo Navarro. No, sorry, Banjo Navarro graduated already then. We even had his name was Copada. He was a
Yeah, si
recruit.
John
He was
Copada.
John Copada. Yeah, I remember he played even for the RP team.
NCC, yeah,
Yeah.
pero nawala siya. He just vanished into thin air.
He just
That's what all the
disappeared.
NCC guys said.
Yeah, I guess he had some issues.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
a couple of other guys, Glenn Yonor. So the ones who really that would be still known today is of course Joey and myself.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Pero you were the captain ball, no? On your senior year in high school, you were the captain ball. That's the one when you swept nga and nag-champion kayo, di ba?
Correct. I was the team captain.
Paano,
that year.
how does one become a captain ball? Is it voted? Is it chosen by Coach Ato? How does that happen?
I think in our system at that time, it was by voting.
All right.
So normally, since we were seniors, a couple of us were chosen, and then the team voted.
Mhm.
So it so happened they chose me. So kaya naging captain ko. Hindi sa pagalingan niya.
Yeah.
What were the responsibilities of that? So you're the ato of the court. Ganun ba yung yung nangyari? What was the responsibility of being team captain in that young of an age?
Well, you kind of build your leadership. Of course, you kind of remind guys, hey, practice time, seryoso, be early. But I didn't need that. Everybody was afraid of Ato. But, he was a real disciplinarian. You couldn't mess around.
Yeah.
So we were always on time.
Yeah.
We were, when it was practice, there was no messing around, and everybody was really, had that desire to win. Because we weren't, the junior team wasn't winning for a while, and we decided that summer that we are gonna win, and we had other coaches that came in. I don't know if you remember, he was an Olympian, Hokson.
Yeah. Okay.
He kind of helped us, and the uncle of Bliss, Pablo Cuna.
Yeah. Who played for ECO as well.
Training, developing our skills and also conditioning, and they, kind of helped Ato, and we were like a firepower team. We were not as strong and not as tall and big as the other teams, and everybody was homegrown.
Yeah.
Homegrown. Wala pa yung yung recruitment ng San Beda noon, hindi pa masyadong But Mike, what was a typical Ato Badulato practice like back then? For example, if you arrive late, ano mangyayari sa'yo?
Huwag ka na magpakita, uuwi ka na lang. Basically, it was like that. And then you'd get penalized, or the most, tanggalin ka sa team. Diba?
Wow.
Yeah.
It happened to me first year high school, actually. Actually, my first time trying out was first year high school. But something happened and I was cut off out of the team.
Okay.
Wow.
Yung something happened na yan will remain a mystery forever. We're not gonna.
There's no need to talk about that.
Yeah.
No, so when you were a senior, diba, you were on your way to sweep the championship. Sino yung malakas na team sa high school nung time na yun sa NC?
There was Letran was there. I don't know if it was sila Jing Ruiz. I can't really recall, but I know Puhante was there.
Leo Puhante.
Sorry. Puhante was with Lasal. Puhante, Chico, Jong, Coach Jong was there. Actually, Lasal was very strong. I think even Janelle Bakuli was there.
Okay.
I may be wrong, but there were a lot of teams were tough. Letran also was very tough. San Sebastian, Trinity had a lot of big men. I don't know if you remember Portosa. Who else was there? But Latosa.
Saldi.
Saldi Latosa.
Okay. Who eventually became your teammate.
Yeah.
Wala nang Ateneo nun, Mike?
Wala na.
Wala na. That was the year that Ateneo decided to leave. I don't know if you remember the 1977 championship with Ateneo from Beda.
Closed door.
Frankie Lim talked lengthily about that when he
and Fritz Gaston also.
Fritz Gaston.
So we've heard both sides of the story. So we don't know the real story. Kanya-kanya.
Let's keep it a mystery.
Kasi closed door walang
Yeah.
Diba? No one saw what actually happened. Pero what happened when you went up to the senior level na Mike? Was it smooth sailing for you as well? Or did you have to go through rigorous tryouts also?
No, we were invited to join the senior team as a tryout also. At the same time, myself and Joey was also invited by LaSalle. So we were training in the morning in San Beda and then the afternoon in Lasal, and trying to figure things out. Yeah. But in
you
the
mentioned
end,
it was you, Joey, and someone else. No, tatlo kayo. You said who were going to Lasal.
I'm not sure if there was someone else, but what
Okay.
I recall, I think definitely me and Joey. And then I think someone from San Beda found out and had us called and sat us down, spoke to us, and seriously recruited us, that type. Pero not like how it is today, where there's a lot of perks as you're being recruited, right? So kami ni Joey, we decided together, sige, let's just stay here and make the most out of San Beda.
Why did you think of moving to Lasal also at the time? Why did you consider it na nilipat kayo sa Lasal ni Joey?
Well, many things. Maybe something new, education, just moving campuses. Because it's very, a lot of kids, ba? After high school, you end up going to another school or you get different experience, different environment.
Yeah.
So
I thought kasi may girls kasi sa Lasal, kaya lilipat kayo sa Lasal. I'm sure that was part of the equation.
That could have been the hidden agenda.
Quiet, oh.
Kaya nga eh. So as when you were in the senior, syempre that's a whole new ball game already. May mga mas matatanda na sa inyo nun. When you transferred to the seniors from the juniors, who were the upperclassmen then? Sino yung mga siga nung time na yun? The older guys in the Red Lions lineup.
Actually, when we graduated, the team, so it was like a double championship because like what I mentioned, but we na-sweep namin, and then the seniors won and beat Ateneo.
Right.
And that means they already won 2 in a row. So that following year would have been like a three-peat, which was very rare in those days, right? But what happened, I think JB Yango and Chito Loizaga, Chuck Barrero graduated, but JB Yango and Chito Loizaga decided to forfeit their senior year.
Okay.
See?
Yeah.
So it kind of opened up. But to answer your question, ang mga natira na the seniors was, of course, Frankie Lim, which he was our captain ball that time. He was the most senior. Then we had Louis Brill, we had Bear Martin, all those guys who were part of the championship, those who didn't graduate, were still all there.
Lakas pa rin.
Then yung but the twins, they graduated also. So there was a lot of opening that year.
Yeah.
But I guess if Chico and JB stayed, it could have been.
Yeah. That would have made you much stronger. How did the team do in your freshman year in college? How did the team do, and how did you? Were you able to play a lot? Nabigyan ka ba ng panahon?
We played limited time, but we got to play.
Okay.
Maybe the typical time they give you as a rookie. That's what that's how we started. Maybe Joey.
Who was the coach?
At that time, it was Coach Carbonell.
Si Bonnie. Okay.
Bonnie Carbonell, yeah.
Okay. Siga rin yun, di ba? Kilalang siga rin si Coach Bonnie.
Oh yeah. He was tough also. But we used to tease Joey because Joey and Coach Carbonell lived in parang magkakalapit lang sila. So dinadaanan siya ni Coach Carbonell. So he was never big. Kasi talagang maaga si Coach. So we used to tease Joey. Oh, kamusta na yung tatay mo? Mainit ba ulo? So he was kind of tough. And there were days, he'd really push us and, maybe maybe masama ang gising or what. But, so he was also a very tough coach.
What was the league like nung first couple of years mo doon, Mike, sa NCAA? Senior division. Medyo magulo pa nun, ano?
Yeah. In fact, on my second year, on our sophomore year, so wala na Ateneo and all that, no?
Mhm.
We had a lot of teams became strong. Letran was strong. They had Mon San Juan, Aninion, you name Dukut, I think, a couple of them. And then LaSalle had all the recruits that they had.
Mhm.
You remember, Boss Danding took over LaSalle by that
Right.
time.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was like a new team and new system, and they were so strong also. They had Almario, the Pumarin brothers,
Mhm.
and
With Chico
so many.
Ituri.
They had a lot of recruits. They were really strong. So we had a very good competition. The top three teams, Letran, it was basically Letran, San Beda, LaSalle, fighting it out. But what
Yeah.
happened, there was a nagkagulo dun. I don't know if you remember that year. There was a
Championship, yeah.
big, it didn't really reach a championship. I don't know if it was just towards the end ng first round
Yeah.
or second
That's
round.
right. Hindi umabot
So
ng
we were all
championship.
tied up. San Beda, San Beda beats LaSalle, pero LaSalle loses to Letran, and then we lose to. Basta we all had one loss each.
Mhm.
Parang hindi kami manalo sa Letran, pero LaSalle naman hindi manalo sa amin, but LaSalle beats Letran. Something that
Yeah.
So the game became very heated, and then all hell loose broke out after the game, and that was the NCAA decided to nullify the rest of the season.
Yeah. This was,
Hindi
I
na lang
think, the
tinuloy.
Lasal Letran nito, yung nagkabasagan pa ng kotse sa Rizal Memorial.
Correct.
Yeah.
Speaking of LaSalle, there's someone watching now. I think he's from LaSalle, Aldo Perez.
Oh, Aldo, yeah. Aldo was there. Kamusta, Aldo?
Yeah, he watches the show all the time.
I see.
Yeah.
So that's what happened, and the season was ended early. But in between, there was a league. Somebody organized a league where LaSalle was there, San Beda, and a few teams. Definitely, Letran was out. Was not there. No?
Okay.
And I think we won that. It was a small league, short, like a short season, and we were I think we successfully won that year.
Mike, there's a friend of yours, Mike, who commented, si Edgar Dizon. Sabi niya, Mike, tinalo natin ang Letran sa 1979.
Okay. Maybe. He's my teammate.
Huh?
I think he's my teammate.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of these guys who watch kasi they really follow. They know what happened in those years.
Yeah.
So thank you once again to one of our followers. I have a question lang. When you were playing in San Beda High School, no? So naglalaro ka na, naging varsity ka na. Naisip mo ba, I just want to play for my school, I love San Beda, may connection ako sa San Beda, or were your dreams as high as I'm gonna make it to the PBA one day already at that point in your life?
At high school level, I think the thought was there, the desire or the dream was there.
Okay.
Because I felt it's a way out of like if I strived hard and worked hard and made it to the PBA, it would help me, uplift your life. Because at that time, I think high school, my dad fell ill.
Okay.
So parang yung earning niya nawala. So the family was just reliant na lang on my mom. So there was a struggle, Parang there was hard times. So it kind of gave me that thought, maybe I can start something and at the same time play. Those were things in my thought. And then as we moved to college, and then with the influence of the Loizaga family, I think Tito Caloy was a coach at that time with Tanduay.
Yeah.
Or Iko Tanduay, yeah. So we would get to watch games, and then, sometimes sumasama kami sa mga team dinner, pag nanalo. In those days, uso pa yan. When a team wins, the owners of the team would treat them to dinners and all that. So seeing all that, I think the desire and the dream became more and more. It was there.
I have a question naman, Mike. Sorry, Sid. Mabilis lang to. I have a question lang. Of course, you being of Indian descent, part of the Indian community also. How was that? How did that affect the Indian community's desire to play basketball when they saw this Mike Advani excelling in San Beda? Did that change the way the Indian community felt about? Uy, pwede rin kami maging basketball player.
Correct. Yeah, I'm sure it did because. We started having basketball leagues of our own, and then one of them, I don't know if you ever met Dilip Budrani. He was like the commissioner of the league.
Yes.
Right.
So then, a lot of the younger boys started being interested in the game and playing it, and our leagues were serious.
Yeah.
And they would get coaches who were well known, like Coach Gabi Velasco. Coach Leo Austria was coaching there. Jing Ruiz.
Chito Victorero also.
Who else was there?
Chito. Eventually, Chito Victorero.
Chito. Yeah. So it was a very intense, that league. It became an intense league, and everybody was serious, and they were trying to get the best coaches they could. Even Kaloy Garcia was a coach at one point.
Ganun ba? Okay.
Talaga. Ganun ka-invested yung mga team owners. They really went out and hired no?
Big budget yung mga team owners dyan sa liga na yan.
No, but there were also some who eventually followed in the footsteps of Mike Advani na sa college level. I remember Mike Singh played a while also for Ateneo. Yeah, and
Mike
then there was
actually he's my first cousin. Mike Singh. His mom and my mom are sisters.
Okay.
So I used to watch him play. I think he was playing for international school. And I was telling him to go to Ateneo. And at that time, the coach was Chot Reyes.
91, 92.
I went to visit Coach Chot with Mike and asked Coach Chot if he was open for a tryout for, So that was the start of Mike Singh. So he made it to Ateneo, but eventually he left and decided to study abroad before he graduated.
Well, his daughter is actually a pretty good volleyball player nowadays. Jorel Singh, she's quite popular also sa larangan ng volleyball.
He also came back,
Huh?
I don't think she's the daughter of Mike.
Oh, okay. Sorry. No, but again, the Indian influence started from you, or before you there were already others who were starting to develop in the sport of basketball.
Well, basketball was the game, of the country. Yeah. So there was interest also. We had smaller leagues and all that, but no one, because Indians their end goal was mga negosyante. But
yeah, right.
They came from families in business and all. So none of them ever really, I'm sure there were before me that could have, if they pursued it and really worked on it and had the discipline to go to practice every day and all that, baka meron.
Right.
But it just so happened I maybe was one of those that took it seriously.
Mike, may tanong ako. Alam mo naman dito sa Pilipinas di ba? Alaskador talaga yung mga fans, lalo na may mga kalaban and all of that. Ina-Alaska ka ba nila because of your Indian descent during the games? Yung talagang wala.
Maybe
if I was playing for another team, but maybe I was just lucky to be in Ginebra.
In the pros. But how about in high school and college?
Maybe. I think so. It could have happened in high school. But, when you're playing in high school in the Coliseum, you can't hear. See, unless, someone's right there in front of you. It may have happened, but I can't really recall anything that bad.
Okay.
Yeah. What was the high school atmosphere back then? What was it like? Kasi ngayon talagang very big na, NCAA and UAAP junior games. Pero back then ba, where did you play? Malaki na ba yung mga crowds?
Actually, hindi. We used to play in Rizal Memorial then. Kasi ang style before ng NCAA, kunyari, San Beda Letran. So the first game is juniors. Let's say 2 o'clock juniors, and then
Yeah,
3:30 would be seniors. So that's how it was. There would hardly be anyone watching the juniors. Maybe only towards the end kasi next game is the seniors. So dun
Tama.
lang dumadaan ng konti ang tao.
That's right.
But not much, interest sa high school. It was always the seniors. Like not like
today.
Nowadays, ang recruitment is so advanced.
No, grade school pa lang.
Looking at grade school.
Yeah.
May mga agents na sila, no? High school pa lang.
Times have really changed. Especially now. I never realized, even now in the last 2 years or 3 years, they've been really recruiting heavily sa high school pa lang.
Yeah. Totoo yan.
Yep. Yeah. I have another question lang. After that brawl, no, between Letran and Lasal, which resulted in the suspension of the season, di ba, I think San Beda filed a leave, of absence sa NCAA. You didn't play for a couple of seasons, if I'm not mistaken. Because of
I'm not sure if it happened in my time or in the time when sila Ronnie, the batch of Ronnie, Eric Altamiran, Benji Paras. I think it happened in their time.
Okay.
I may be wrong, and that's one of the reasons I think they moved to UP.
Yeah. So you were able to complete your eligibility sa NCAA senior?
Yeah. I did the 4 years because part of my plan was really to graduate first before I played for a commercial league or what. But as as early as second year, parang the Mika teams were already preparing. In those days, merong farm team ang PBA. So the Mika teams was like their farm team. So let's say if you go to ECO, they have the right for you to bring you up to the PBA. So that level pala, they were already recruiting.
Yeah.
Who recruited you?
Sorry?
Which Mika teams showed interest in you?
At that time, there was ECO, there was APCOR, there was a couple of teams. But APCOR was quite aggressive. At that time, it was the team manager was the former NBI director, si Toledo. I don't know if you remember that.
Okay. Yes.
But I didn't commit because I was tendency you'll be forced to end up playing, and then you'll miss classes, and then that was my worry. So I waited until I graduated.
What degree did you earn at the end of your stint in San Beda?
Just a business degree.
Yeah. Was it of course the natural process of evolution is you're supposed to go into business already right after that. Tatayo na kayo ng negosyo. As you said, that's what the goal was. But you took a different route. Talaga sineryoso mo na. I'm going to go basketball all the way.
Well, what happened in my senior year, I don't know if I mentioned it to Charlie the other day. I contracted hepatitis early on in the league. And I was wondering why I was always feeling weak. After practice, before practice, during games, I couldn't just perform. So then I became sick. And then when I took some tests, I had hepatitis. So I had to stop playing because it was something that you need to rest for a month at least.
Yeah.
So that brought down, the value. So after college, there was no teams looking at me because my first few games were bad. When you're playing sick and without energy. So during college, I was already planning something. I was designing sportswear.
Okay.
At that time, uso yung running.
Parang
Botak.
Yeah, so I was thinking maybe I should start a line na ganyan. Pwede ka naman mag-start small or what. So those were the things I was preparing. So when I got out of college, yun ang ginawa ko since I was also just recovering. Because I think it's a 6 months recovery. Yun, hepatitis. So, you get out of shape and all. So then I decided to try it out again. So at that time, PABL ang ano. PBL or
PABL na.
PABL.
PABL pa nun.
PABL.
Amateur pa eh. Amateur noong mga panahon na yun eh.
Correct.
PABL. And then you mentioned Mike the other day. You played for several teams in the PABL. How did that journey go? Can you take us through your PABL journey from team to team and your experiences?
The first team I tried out for was Masagana 99.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have a team that was run by Arturo Panganiban.
Yeah,
No?
Panganiban.
Yeah.
I don't know if I stayed there for a year, and then I moved to there was a new team that came out called Development Bank of Rizal. They recruited us, so we moved there.
Sino kasabay niyo doon?
Sino mga kasabay mo, Mike? Yung Masagana. Masagana, sikat din eh. Maraming sikat din
Sila
sa
Junel yun, di ba?
Leo was the star. Austria, Leo Isaac. Who else? Those are the two guys that I remember sa Masagana.
Okay.
And then in Development Bank of Rizal, it was sila Viray, Amisola,
Okay.
and I don't know, my memory is so
Do you
bad.
remember sinong ano? Do you remember sinong may-ari ng Development of Rizal?
It was a Chinese family.
Ayun, okay.
Can't recall. There were two brothers.
Okay.
Okay. So after Rizal, where did you move to?
After that, I moved to ESQ under Ballin. So I stayed with ESQ also for quite a while. And then at that time, our coach became Chuck Barrero.
Wow, interesting.
Barrero. So I played for
So
Chuck.
babat ka? Hindi.
Hindi naman. Hindi naman nakasara ko sa kanya.
Favorite ng coach.
Loaded yung ESQ nun, di ba?
Sorry?
Loaded yung ESQ team nun, ano?
Yeah. And then coach Boss Buddy decided to bring in Coach Lipa after that year. Okay. And then it became more loaded. Then I was just telling Charlie, that's the time I got cut.
Puro UP na pumasok doon.
Yeah. So, so coaches have players they're comfortable with, and that's what happened. But then it also inspires you to, to strive harder. And then luckily there was, what I was telling Charlie, there was a team, and the opening was like, I think a week or two from that time, and there was a new team that came in. So they picked us up. I think myself and a couple of guys that were cut. I don't know if you remember Jojo Valle.
Yeah, I do.
There's a FEU. Yeah.
FEU,
we were together there and a couple of guys. I think God rest his soul, rest in peace. Ritualo, Dante Ritualo also was also there.
Okay.
And a few others.
What was the competition like? Sorry. What was the competition like sa PABL noon? This is nagsara na yung Mika before you make it to the PBA. Parang pit stop niyo yung PABL. Ganong ka-physical yung laro doon? Was it as bad as yung magulo ba ng time na yun, or okay naman?
No, hindi magulo, but it was tough because we also had teams from Visayas. There would be what's the famous Visayan teams that would come?
Cebuana
Mama's Love.
There was a team and one more where sila Jolas naman were there.
Mama's Love.
Mama's Love. Yeah.
May crowd favorite yun.
Crowd favorite.
In the crowd, basta naglaro ang Mama's Love, kasi mga Cebuano, yung mga Cebuanos or the people from Visayas here in Manila, parang, home team namin to. So, pinupuntahan talaga. So, we had a very good crowd at that time. Sila Marata, those guys. Jojo, Musa. I think Ampalayo, pero Ampalayo was playing for ESQ yata siya.
Yes, ESQ si Ampalayo. That's right.
Yeah. How did that put you on the map, Mike, na mapansin ka ng mga PBA teams, your stint in the PABL?
Ba may parang drafting. So I think in 1985, when I was playing for RFM, so after that stint, I ended up going to RFM pala.
Okay.
So I was playing for RFM, then we, a couple of us nagpapa-draft, those in the PABL. And then that year I was undrafted, so I continued playing. Then in the middle of the season ng PBA ng 86.
Yeah.
Ginebra needed 2 guards, maybe preparation supposedly for, because Francis Arnaiz was already in his late 30s. Si Coach Jaworski, so maybe management or what, or they were thinking of bringing some new guys. So luckily, I was recommended by Joey and Chito as one. Because it was a mid-season,
That's
so
right.
even
before the third conference, diba?
Yeah.
I think it was right. No, this was second conference pa lang.
Okay.
All Filipino yata.
Okay, yeah.
For the all Filipino, yeah. The first conference just ended. I think they had Michael Hackett at that time.
Yeah.
So myself and Leo
Leo Isaac,
yeah. So that was the start of the Ginebra days.
Yeah, I remember mid-season kayong dalawa ni Leo Isaac acquisition.
Yeah. Do you know what happened? How come? Paano kayo nagsabay ni Leo for that? I mean, you said you were undrafted, so you're more or less a free agent. What happened? Yung kay Leo, ganun din ang kwento? Na hindi rin siya na-draft? Tapos,
could be, yeah. Because you cannot pick up anyone, unless they are like a free agent. Because once you're not drafted, automatic you're in the naging free agent ka na.
That's right.
So any team can pick you up, any time of the season. Yeah.
So mid 86, you're now in the pros all of a sudden after a good high school career in San Beda. The college career wasn't as successful probably kasi, di ba, you didn't naman win a championship when you were in college, but you did make a mark in the PABL also, di ba? Kaya nga na-notice ka ng mga PBA scouts, if there were any scouts already at that time. So now we're talking about you getting recruited by Ginebra in the middle of 1986. So we're going to talk about the pro career already of Mike Advani. We'll just take a short break to remind everybody, Aaron, that we are part of the Globally Ballin Network, and you can catch a show called Who the Heck Are We? With the latest episode. Who the heck is that? That's Boy at Season. He's a DJ and broadcast hustles. Citizen of the world, child of the universe. Anyway. Diba? Yun ang nakalagay dyan. So Boy at Season, that's that show. Who the Heck Are We? And then there's also Denise Densay and Hang Time, and the recent episode with Ayel Estranero, volleyball.
Estranero, actually.
Estranero. With an Enye. It was Enye Day yesterday, di ba? So then the Globally Ballin Network, lots of shows there, lots of things to check out. Dyan sa Globally Ballin Network, go to globallyballin.com for all of that. We're on YouTube. Itong AEOB natin, go to the Globally Ballin YouTube channel and subscribe. Click that bell. And then you gotta check out all our episodes there. And the Globally Ballin Southeast Asia on Facebook. Follow that because a lot of the shows on the Globally Ballin Network are featured there, including clips from our past episodes here on AEOB. And then Linktree/Globally Ballin. That's the link you need for all of that I just mentioned a while ago. And then this is episode 77. Episode 77 ito. No. As usual, when we take a break, Sid takes his break as well. So we come back without Sid. But Noel Zarate is there. And of course, our guest, Mike Advani, is still with us. And we've already talked about San Beda and the experiences over in the PABL at the time for several teams in the PABL. But in the middle of 86, you come into this team, Mike. And, you meet, I suppose you were watching, as you said, you like mga point guards and all of that. And two of the best guards ever in in basketball history in the Philippines were there. Sonny Jaworski and Francis Arnaiz. What was that experience like? You go to practice on the first day, you're with Leo Isaac, kayo yung mga bagito doon. And then they're there like, Mike, pare, this is you. Diba? Sabi ni
this is you na.
Diba? So how was that experience?
Well, it was just when I was informed, it was overwhelming because these were the players you were looking up to, right? Francis Hernandez, Jaworski, and then I had to pinch myself a couple of times. Is this true? Is this a reality? So because especially with Jaworski, he's I mean, he was like the most very siya, ang lakas ng niya. I mean, he was the most popular player, and for me, I think he was the best player, even till today. I don't think anyone is really as good as him as a whole. That's my opinion. Well, others, uh, everybody has an opinion. He was all around. He could do everything, and his contribution was really huge. And he could really turn your game around and push you and make you work hard. And all those traits. It's his influence is amazing. I'm sure you could have seen it in the way players transform from what they were, and then when they join his teams.
That's right.
But what was the first meeting with Sonny Jaworski like for you and Coach Leo? Your first practice there, anong una niya sinabi sa inyo nakita? Coach, ito na yung dalawang taga PABL nandito na. So what was that like the first day that you met with Sonny Jaworski?
Well, initially, I think when we came in, Coach was still either rehabbing or having something done in the US. So it was Coach Rino first.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he was kind of guiding us and already briefing us on how it's going to be by the time Coach Jaworski comes and all that. So we were kind of prepared mentally that we had to be tough and ready for every game. And when we met Coach Jaworski for the first time, eventually when he came back from his trip, he didn't really say much. I guess he wanted to observe us first, and but just his presence was just overwhelming. All of a sudden, our practices also kind of changed. Everybody was just transformed, Parang iba na naman yung energy when he's there also. So he didn't really say much. He didn't really expect much from us. He just told us to, learn the system and gradually, try and fit into the team. And he just wanted people who were team players, He wanted winners and people who'd work hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it is. There's a lot of intrigues, or there's a lot of... Yeah.
That season, Mike, when you joined Ginebra, 86, Coach Sonny was already 40 years old, but he still put on some incredible performances in some games. I think he played a double overtime game at that age. See you sitting on the bench, absorbing this. How awestruck were you looking at a 40-year-old do what Coach Sonny was doing on the court?
Super starstruck. I couldn't believe that he could do all these things. I think even till today, you're not going to see any athlete, a 40-year-old athlete, play as tough and as energetic as he was. I've seen we have some players who are almost in that age now, but I don't think they can perform as how he performed, playing double overtime games, playing 40 minutes a game, plus you're coaching. You try coaching and playing. I think that's the hardest job.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah.
You mentioned, Mike, Rino Salazar. No? He was the guy who welcomed you to Ginebra. He commented kanina lang, he describing you, you're one player, ikaw daw, one player that develops an attitude where excellence is always defined and also a great person. Those are the words of Coach Rino for you.
Yeah.
Diba? So may shining description about you. Pero my question is, okay, so Sonny Jaworski, iba yung presence na iba yung practice ninyo when he came in. Was it similar or different from Ato Badulato's presence naman in San Beda? Is it comparable?
Well, it's kind of different because like Ato was not a basketball player per se, you know. And the styles, the you know, their thoughts of the games are a little different. Ato gave us a lot of confidence by pushing us and playing. You know, it was we constantly had games, so you learn from the games.
Mhm.
While Coach Jaworski was really, it was basically it was more, you know, it's a more mature type of training where he works on your mind. You know, you have to have a disciplined mind, a disciplined outlook in life. It's complete.
Yeah.
And he doesn't only talk about the now, he's always talking about the future also.
Right.
So he's preparing us mentally, you know, what are you guys going to do after you play? You know, that type.
Yeah.
So make the most out of it now. And you've got to do this and you've got to do that. Hindi pwedeng ganito. So he was really like a guiding force and an inspiration to all of us. Whether you played 40 minutes or you played 2 minutes or 3 minutes, just being in the team, I mean, there's so much that you learn and develop for the future. You develop resiliency. You know, you were challenged. Every day was a challenge. There was no day offs. We played today, we win. No, most teams, you win, okay, day off tayo, 1 or 2 days. We didn't have any of that. Every day we'd come in and compete. That was the whole program. Even after winning a game, a tough game, you know, most of them, parang bugbog na yung iba, you know.
Yeah.
We go into practice the next day and we're competing against each other. So he was just all about winning and playing hard, and the most of it is don't forget the fans, you know. He would always remind us, you know, these guys are paying to watch you play. Your hard-earned money, but and these are the daily workers. So you've got to give back to them. Not only that, also your time by talking to them. You know how Ginebra was, ba?
Yeah.
Parang it's like a rock band na sobrang sikat wherever you go. Whether you're playing or you're not playing, people want your autograph. Ba?
That's right.
So
Tsaka there's a comment here, Mike. Tsaka bagay na bagay kayong dalawa ni Leo Isaac because your family names have 3 syllables. If you go to Ginebra, kung 3 syllables ka, di ba? Jaworski, di ba? Ganun yan, diba? Loizaga, Gonzalgo. Ayan, di ba? So, Advani tsaka Isaac, pasok doon, di ba? So they can, di ba? We still love you. It's okay, it's all right, di ba? Ganun yung cheer na Ginebra. Di ba? Ganun lang yun eh. Kahit magkamali ka, we still love you, Advani. Di ba? So and you did become a fan favorite, no? Because whether you started or you came off the bench, basta pumasok ka, I remember, because I was there, they would clap and everything, and then you do your thing, and basta favorite ka. Patayo ka pa lang, papunta ka pa lang sa officials table, no? We prepared, Mike, we prepared a gallery of photos from your basketball career. We'll start showing them now, and they tell us what you remember when you see them. Here's the first one. Yeah, no? San Beda Red Cubs.
Yeah. First thing that comes to my mind is the sweep. That's the year we won 18 straight. And it was one of our best performance of a San Beda high school team.
And there you are in the front row, no? You're the rightmost on the front row.
Right.
And may bigote ka na nung high school.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that. I wasn't sure kasi kung bigote kasi maliit yung ano eh.
Yeah. At that time, usong medyo pag may bigote ka.
Para pareho kayo ni Coach. Kasi si Coach Ato nakabigote rin nung time na yun, di ba?
Yeah, correct.
Diba? And this is out there, right in front of the building there in San Beda, no? With your wearing your jackets pa, hindi pa. Ang ganda ng mga jacket. Letterman's jacket.
Napakainit dyan.
Are you still in contact with these guys?
Just a few of them every now and then, especially when we have reunions in school.
Mhm.
So if you attend a reunion in school, or we have this yearly annual ball, red and white ball, sometimes I get to see some of them.
Okay. Kasi very solid din ang samahan ng mga bidista talaga. I know kasi a lot of relatives of mine who you know them naman, di ba, Mike? So my relatives are Beda rin, maraming Cuna ang taga San Beda. And they proudly wear that San Beda badge. Okay, what's next on the gallery? Ayun, this is another. Ito outdoor naman. Uniforme.
I can't really see. Wait.
It says 1978 National Students Invitational Champion.
Okay. Yeah. Correct. So that same year, when we won the NCAA, every year pala sa high school, there's like 2 leagues. So once the league is done in September, every bandang December is the start of the preliminary games of these national students. So you first play against teams that qualify sa Metro Manila, and then may specific province that will host. Then dun pupunta lahat ng mga teams from the different parts of the country.
Okay.
Yeah. So that year, I think the host was in Ilocos.
Okay.
So teams from Manila, I think 2 teams from Manila that qualified, then may Mindanao, may Visayas, around Luzon.
Parang
So
PCCL na nung time na yun, parang Champions League.
Yeah, parang Champions League pero high school. It was called National Students Basketball, yeah.
Yeah, it was very prestigious back then.
I think we played UV. You know Anthony Mendoza? You've heard, you remember?
Of course. Naging teammate mo rin, oh.
Yeah. Sila ang mga kalaban namin dun sa We end up in the finals against UV. And UV was always a tough team. Alam mo naman yung mga teams from the Visayas.
Yes.
Very physical and also very talented. Diba? Tsaka parang baga sinasabi. And parang matitigas ang katawan. In those days, they said, maisang kinakain nila eh. Diba?
Tama. We've heard that a lot. Yeah.
So we were lucky enough to win that year also, the championship. So very memorable ang high school senior year namin, winning the NCAA and then winning the National League. So basically, we were the best high school team in the country.
Yeah.
Can you see that photo again, Aaron? Just want to see where si Joey Loizaga was there in that photo. Kasi nandun din siya, no?
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah. Can we see that photo again, Aaron? No,
the other one, the outdoor, the one after that.
I forgot about that.
There.
Until I enlarged the picture. Yeah.
That's Joey, number 14. Sa kaliwa ni Coach Ato.
Yan yung outdoor basketball.
There's Joey. And then si Mike is on the other side, di ba? Number 4, no? Number 4. Kasi kapitan ka. Normally, ganun yun, di ba?
No, number 4 is usually the captain.
Oo nga.
Okay, sorry. This is not the championship team. This is the team of the year before. On my first year.
Yeah. Kasi that means mali yung tag.
It says 1978 National Students Basketball.
Yeah, National Students yan. Oh. Kasi nandiyan pa sila Jigs Bregendal. Yeah.
Okay. What's next? Ito pro ka na. Yeah, there you are with another bidista, si Elmer Reyes.
Yung tulak mo si Elmer Reyes.
Magnolia.
And Ed Ducot ba yung isa?
Ed Ducot.
Ed
Ducot and Franz Pumaren. And the other Magnolia guy, number 11 ba yan?
Si Ituri yan, kung 11 yan.
Possibly. Tsaka may Nipad, pwede nga si Tonichi yan.
or maybe Almario.
Ano na?
Mario was
So,
7 yata.
7 or 8 yun eh.
so what's happening here? Is Franz Pumarin digging an elbow into your back? What's happening?
And then, siguro nakikipag-holding hands lang ata.
Si Konsehal?
Yeah.
No,
Mike,
Franz was not, never played dirty. He was all skills. He was a good player.
Mike, who welcomed you into the PBA during your
first game,
rookie years?
Kasi di pwede si Jawo kakampi niya eh.
Si Onchi de la Cruz.
Yes!
Yeah, had to be one of those guys. Yep. Paano? What did he do?
Then, battling for rebound. Yeah. Pinakain niya sa akin yung siko niya.
Yeah. Well,
Kung hindi Big Sanchez, Onchi de la Cruz eh. Dalawa lang naman yun eh, di ba?
Then tsaka mainit talagang Tanduay Ginebra nung panahon na yun eh, di ba? That was like, di ba? That was the matchup at the time eh. It was Tanduay versus Ginebra because of Jaworski and Fernandez.
Correct. But in the beginning, you don't think anyone's gonna hit you.
May reality check ka agad from Monchi.
So, yeah,
Hit you in the face, Ballin? Yung siko niya.
Yeah, kaya nga daw ng siko eh.
This way.
Binagsakan ka na siko.
Yeah. Basically, parang he made me feel his presence. Diba? Yeah, like I said, pinakain niya ako ng siko. Siguro sabi niya, wala ka pang merienda, ito.
Nabusog ka na agad. Now, you chose number 5 when you were in Ginebra. Is there any particular reason for number 5?
I'm trying to recall why. I think in the seniors sa San Beda.
Okay.
I used number 5 initially.
Okay.
Until again I became the team captain. So
you held on to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Ano susunod dyan? What's the next one, Aaron, on the gallery? Ayan. Party.
Padala na yata ni Joey Loizaga itong mga picture na ito. Padala si Joey ng isang buong album, by the way, of pictures.
Really?
Do you remember this? Naka-long sleeves pa si Don dito.
Don. Si Joey.
Like what I said, this Ginebra team of ours, parang we were very close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if it's Coach Jaworski's birthday or someone's birthday, parang lagi may get-together.
Mm-hmm.
Kung di team dinner. So we got together a lot. So the bonding was really different. It was like a brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, si Joey dito, may clutch bag na, nakatupi pa yung sleeves.
Yeah. Kung siya dati, yung nakatupi yung ganyan.
Kaya nga eh.
Yan ang look niya dati.
Naka-sperry pa yung mga yan, naka-topsider.
Walang medyas, siyempre.
Walang medyas.
Very loyal. Si Mike very loyal sa color red talaga. Hanggang ngayon, naka-red pa rin. Sa picture na yan, naka-red. Talagang, obviously, that's your favorite color.
Today is Ginebra Day and San Beda Day, no? Kaya, red ako.
Right. Did any other team... did any other team talk to you sa PBA besides Ginebra? May mga lumapit ba sa'yo? Because things would have been different if you joined another team, ano? Besides Ginebra, may lumapit ba sa'yo?
Well, when I was still in amateur, I think Baby Dalupan was coaching.
Great Taste.
When I was in college. Yeah, Baby Dalupan was coaching Presto.
Yeah, Great Taste.
Yeah. That was one of those conversations before. Yeah.
Okay.
Hirap nun, kasi backup ka ni Ricardo Brown, hindi ka na halos makakalaro nun.
Ricardo Brown was there na, no?
Yeah.
Mike, I want to ask lang about how good of a player was Don Ampalayo?
Don was he was on his way to stardom. He was always at the right place at the right time.
Mhm.
Picking up those offensive rebounds. His timing was just perfect. And very calculated the movements niya. Walang excessive movements, di ba?
Mhm.
If you recall the way he played. And
Yeah.
parang walang effort, pero grabe yun, impact on the game.
Yeah.
I think if he didn't get injured, he would have been one of the top 50 players today.
Wow.
Yeah, ako asar na asar ako kay Don because against Tanduay, he would step it up. I was a Tanduay fan and he would play well against Tanduay all the time. Nakakainis. Di ba?
Right.
sa ilalim, di ba?
Magic man ang ganun eh.
Oh, the
Naalala
magic
ko
man.
Correct. Yeah.
Moves niya sa ilalim or ibang klase. He was one of the premier post players nung late 80s eh.
But that's right. Tama yung description ni Mike. Very simple maglaro si Don. Pa-layup lang, pa-reverse lang, pero effective.
Yeah.
And he wasn't the number one pick, di ba? He was rookie of the year, but he wasn't the number one pick. He was number 2, I think. Di ba?
Yeah, that's correct. Sino nga ba number 1 nun?
Ray Cuenco yata.
Ricky. Oh.
Ray Cuenco yata, 86.
Ray
I'm not
Ray
Cuenco.
Ray Cuenco.
Ray Cuenco nga yata.
Ray Cuenco is 86.
What's next? Next photo, please. Ayan. Speaking of celebrations, you were talking about it earlier, Mike.
Right. That time, I think that's the time. That was our first championship.
Right. Right.
That time, La Tondena, it was owned by La Tondena, the Ginebra team. That's why if you see Mr. Palanca there in the center.
Honey Boy. Yeah.
Honey Boy. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's his father on the right beside Coach Jaworski. Yeah.
And then I see yung mga forma dito. Of course, yung may sweater over Chito Loizaga, may sweater. Tapos si Joey nakakurbata. Tapos si Joey Marquez naka-suspenders. Diba?
At the time, si Joey Marquez, I think, was already starting his showbiz career. Yung time na yan, parang paumpisa na.
Yeah.
Kanyang palibhasa lalaki.
Do you have any memories of Joey Marquez that you'd like to share with us? Any story about him in particular?
Nag-guess ka ba sa palibasa?
No, never. Well,
how
Joey,
do you remember him?
I think Joey was very talented. And of course, his sense of humor, ibang klase rin, no? Because I didn't really spend much time with him kasi very short.
Yeah.
Number one, I came in the middle of the season, and right after the season, nawala na siya.
Out na siya.
Yeah, I think limited siya ng team.
His
I
brother.
think he went to Great Days or somewhere,
Yeah.
if I remember right. So not much, pero very good memories. He was masaya kasama si Joey.
I'm sure.
And when he got time in the court, he could play, he could score,
Yeah.
But I guess the mindset niya is iba, and mindset of coach, they're two different, So yun
I
lang.
was about to ask you, how did he get along with Coach Sonny? Kasi di ba parang kuwela si Joey Marquez and Coach Sonny's all business. Did they ever clash?
Well, I never saw them really clash per se, because everybody, had that respect for coach. Nobody questioned what he did. And I guess sometimes it comes to a point when you feel that, your talent is not for this team, then you decide to move, diba?
Yeah. Standing behind the trophy is Billy Ray Bates. No, he's probably standing on top of a chair, no, but he wasn't that tall, obviously. And then Michael Hackett's beside him. Obviously, we have to ask this to everyone who played with him. Any Billy Ray Bates stories? What are your Billy Ray Bates recollections? Maraming funny stories. Some are strange.
Billy Ray Bates.
I mean, alam natin magaling talaga, di ba? Pero I mean, what are the stories that we didn't see on the court?
Well, for me, all I can say it's parang a wasted talent.
Okay.
Kasi he was very talented, but he had very many bad habits. I don't want to speak about, these are private things of a person, but
Mhm.
just for people who watch or athletes who watch, I mean, who's listening on, the talent went wasted because of certain bad habits. But
Yeah.
that's what I can just say. But he was a great person, but sometimes when you develop bad habits and you cannot control, then you just lose you lose everything. But,
Kasi one of your former teammates, I think he mentioned, darating sa practice, amoy Chico.
exactly.
Oh, okay. Confirmed.
Even
Yun na yun.
Corroborated. Once again.
even if he comes to the gym, ganun ang amoy. Kaya hihingi sa akin, do you have gum? You got gum there?
They have gum there. Laugh trip.
What about
Sabi
the
ko,
other?
even how much gum you eat, the smell is not going to change.
Yeah, correct.
It's coming out of your
Paano-
skin.
How about the
yung
other guy?
panlasa mo lang.
How about the
But
other
Michael
guy?
Hackett?
Kamusta
Michael
naman si Hackett?
Hackett naman, he loved to eat. But during that year, they were all in great shape. That's why, that's one of the reasons we also won. We had talent, we had the height, the support, we had the best imports, and of course, the rest of the local talent. The whole combination was just a perfect. It was like a perfect story. And this was the first championship of Coach Sonny.
Yeah.
Right, that's right.
It was big, even big for the company, La Tondena, and for Ginebra.
No, this is
So
the image that, yeah.
I'm lucky to be part of that.
Oh yeah,
Right.
kasi imagine rookie, biglang champion na agad. And there are a lot of guys who don't win a championship throughout their career, di ba?
Correct.
Di ba?
And
Ito si
we
number...
all were given rings.
Ah,
So
okay.
till today, I have that ring. I then you can also ask some members of the team if they still have those rings.
Ito, napapansin ko rito, naka-Adidas top 10 ka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adidas top
This is the image that I remember really of Mike Advani. Pag pinasok, change speed na yung laro. Okay, this is gonna be change speed talaga mangyayari dyan. That second unit of Ginebra nung pinasok talaga, pangratratan because the starters nga were kind of deliberate when it's Jaworski handling the ball, but when it became Advani leading the group na pabilisan na yung magiging laro nun. Was this the instruction to the second unit before, or was this just playing to your specialty as a very wily, shifty point guard?
Well, the coach always wanted us to run as much as possible to, bring up the tempo, push the ball, try and find easy shots. If it's set, then we set up the plays. So basically, that was whole the game plan, and try and just control the tempo.
What do you consider as your strength as a point guard in the PBA? What did you bring to the team? Ano yung pinaka-contribution mo? Anong ambag mo, kumbaga?
I think basically it's the leadership when you're inside the court, and you make decisions on the plays you call based on what the defense gives you, or you try and look at who's playing well today or what is the advantage. Let's say we have a big guy who's got an advantage in the post, and we go and target the post plays, stuff like that. Basically, you have to be thinking while you're playing, to play that role as a point guard or as a leader inside.
Naalala ko before when I used to liken you to I'm a Boston Celtics fan, and so is Sid. I used to liken you to Jerry Seasting. Di ba, Sid? Para pag pinasok na si Mike Advani, that's your Jerry Seasting is right there already. That's the leader of the second unit. That's how I looked at you before when you were still playing with Ginebra. Like the Jerry Seasting of Ginebra.
What do you think about that, Mike? Okay ba sa'yo yung Jerry Seasting comparison?
Okay. Well, he'd come in, he'll do his job, play his role, contribute.
And piss off Ralph Sampson. Diba?
Yeah. So in our team, basically, or my thoughts, whatever I can contribute, whatever little I contribute to the team, or or whatever time given to you, you just maximize it.
Tama.
Yeah.
Make the most of it.
Play your
Okay,
role.
Yeah.
What's the next one? Ito. Why are you all pointing up? Or is that number one? Ano ba yan?
I think so. Number one. Maybe we just won or something, or
Your
This is
jersey, some of
87.
them are wearing letter G, ano?
5 years ago.
Practice jersey.
Yeah, practice jersey ba ito? Kasi some of you wearing yung
The one with the letter G, that was our official practice jersey.
And look at Coach Rino. Coach Rino, short shorts, oh.
Yeah.
Titignan ko yung lineup na to, sakit sa katawan. Diba sakit sa katawan?
Harmon sa katawan.
Sakit sa katawan. Tignan niya lineup na yan. Rudy, Leo Isaac, Sal De La Tosa, diba? Harmon. Sakit sa katawan.
Pero, diba, bumalik si Billy Ray Bates, 87, and then in 88, he came back as well. Mike, did you see a decline talaga in the way he played, in his performance? Kitang-kita talaga.
Yeah, I think maybe his habits was not controlled, because the moment he stepped into the court pa lang, normally after, let's say, the start of the third conference, I think one single import lang yata to itong conference na to, or this was the first conference of the following year. He was really out of shape, and his habits were worse. It would be it'd smell in practice, it'd smell in the games. And I think the coach Jaworski sent him home, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he was sent home 88.
88 na yata, 88 siya pinauwi.
Yeah.
When he came back in 88, yeah.
87.
Parang 3 games lang yata siya.
Third conference ito, 87.
Right? With Ginebra. One was the 2 imports, the first championship.
86. Yeah. Then 87 he came solo yata. Then 88 he came back, sila ni Kevin Gamble, di ba? Was it he was replaced by Kevin Gamble, or they were together, Sid? Do you remember that?
He was replaced by someone.
Yeah,
he was replaced kasi ang sama na ng laro niya nun eh. By 87, you guys finished third, if I remember, nag-champion na San Miguel and then Hills Brothers. Then you lost a knockout game against Hills Brothers. Si Jose Slaughter yung import nila.
Yeah.
And then you had Billy Ray Bates ito. Sa 87 You guys had a run pa yun nun pero yun na nga eh. The following year Bates was medyo talagang shadow of his former self.
Yeah, he was very different already by that time. Saka when he was sent home, I remember in the news, it was big news that he was sent home because he's the Black Superman, tapos pinaalis.
Ayun.
Sabi nga ng isang follower natin, replaced by Joe Ward.
Joe Ward, dalawang import noon ng format. Because Joe Ward and Tommy
Davis,
di ba?
They replaced Billy Ray Bates and Kevin Gamble. Tama ba? Yeah, di ba? Yun Bates and Gamble. Pinalitan ni Davis at ni Joe Ward.
Ang headline noon, kasi after a week later, the Celtics signed up Kevin Gamble. So parang may nag-headline dito na Ginebra reject signed up by the Celtics. Parang gano'n yung headline ng isang newspaper dito.
Kevin Gamble was sent home also, correct?
Yeah. Kasi hindi nag-pan out eh.
I think magkaibang time yan eh.
Baka nga.
Never nagsabay si Bates and si Gamble, I think.
Hindi ba? Okay. Well, parang ganun. I'm trying to recall. But I have a question. No? You were there. Since we mentioned Tommy Davis and Joe Ward, you were there when the rumble happened, no? With Great Taste. Di ba that big rumble? Nung clinose line. Yung maalala, clinose line ni Tommy Davis si Philip Cesar, tapos nagkagulo na.
Sumugod si Philip.
I'm not sure if I was in the reserve list at that time. I can't recall that, but I've seen some clips on that. Or maybe 1991 or 92.
That was
88. My last year was 1990.
Yeah.
That was 88 kasi Philip Cesar was with Presto pa nun eh.
Talaga?
Kinotes line eh. Oh.
Okay.
They call that the baddest brawl ever in the PBA. Yan ang sabi nila. But probably
Could have
looked
been
worse
worse.
than it actually was.
Yeah.
It could have been worse. Okay.
Spilled out into
Oh, what's
the
ang
crowd, eh.
susunod? What's the next photo on the ano? Ito yan. This your body, Joey. More recent photo.
I don't know kung saan yan.
Sino nagpadala nito? Noel?
Joey nagpadala yata nito eh.
Si Joey nagpadala.
Si Joey nagpadala.
Si Joey.
Oh, can you tell us
I think
tell us about
doon.
Joey Loizaga?
Your relationship, yeah.
Yeah, relationship with Joey. I know you guys were classmates all the way back in high school, but how was he as a friend, a teammate, a player?
Yeah. Never classmate, but we were teammates from high school to college, and then maaga umalis yan eh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, parang takot sa ballpen yata to eh. So Joey played early on. He left and went and joined the Mika already. I think second year high school, ano na siya. So he started playing early. So for a while, parang nahiwalay kami. But we were very good friends in high school. We spent a lot of time together because of being teammates.
Mm-hmm.
And then yung mga practices, weekend practices, may practice din kami Saturday or Sunday. So may times doon na ako natutulog sa bahay niya. Kasi he used to stay doon sa may San Juan eh. Forgot na kung anong lugar yun. So mas malapit na sa school yun eh, sa San Beda. So I used to sleep over, have dinner with the Loizaga family. So very influential nga. It was just all about basketball. We talk about basketball from the time we have dinner hanggang matulog, hanggang early morning, practice na naman, basketball.
Grabe, ano?
So our relationship was very close until the professional days pa.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 1990 when I stopped playing, then tuloy-tuloy na siya. So but we still maintain the friendship and the closeness.
Mm-hmm.
But now, he lives in Australia. So, minsan nabibisita ko siya doon. And minsan naman, pag umuwi siya dito, nagkikita-kita kami for sure.
Yeah.
Great, that's great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, anong susunod? What's next on the...
Wow, that's a reunion picture.
Okay. These are my batchmates.
This is San Belo.
Yeah.
Joey's at the back.
This
Joey's at
is,
the back. I see my friend Fermin Orosa on the right.
Okay, yeah. This was we celebrated our 40 years in high school, from high school graduation. So we had this big grand plan and grand party. So we have all these classmates from different parts of the world that came. And we had one big celebration. So it was almost a week of celebration. We went out of town. We had parties, and and then we attended the annual ball sa San Beda and the alumni homecoming.
You're still very involved with San Beda affairs. So you're always at the games of the San Beda. You madalas kayo manood di ba? So you're very active pa rin the San Beda community, no?
Well, because in 2002, I became part of the San Beda team. We got together, me and Frankie would always talk about how do we need to do something about San Beda's team. Parang ganyan, But Frankie was busy with talk and text, being the team manager and all that. Yeah. So, I became assistant coach in the 2002 team, and then I stayed for 1 year, and then I also became an assistant coach in talk and text under Bill Baino when Bill Baino, because I met Bill Baino, so I said,
I didn't know that.
I told, hey Bill, can you is there any place in the States that you can recommend for two to learn more and skills training and coaching and training and all that. So he said, no need to go there. I'll just ask Frankie or Mr. Pangilinan to add you in my coaching staff.
Wow.
Kasi at that time, si Joel Banal was moved to Ateneo. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I took his spot first. And at that time, I think we had Jimmy Alapag, Asi, and all that.
Yun na nga, 03, yeah.
But they were in the national team. So parang they were lent. And so Coach Bill was left with, with the rest of the guys. But he brought out the talent of so many, And I think we reached the finals. We played Red Bull in the finals that time. With sila Crisano, the Lago, sila Belano. These were mostly the role players that were left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we, at least we almost made it, but ang lakas ng team ni Coach Yeng.
Yeah. Kasikatan nila yun. That was their peak.
Junti yun.
Junti Lordy yun.
Yeah.
Junti Lordy Jimwell.
Right. So then after that season, then I think Bill decided to go back because he had his NBA dreams.
Yeah.
So he left and they had a new coach. So I just went back to San Beda, and then for a while I was out of San Beda, and then Frankie called me and said that, Boss Manny is gonna be taking over San Beda and he needs someone to look after the team and all that. No? So I became like the team manager. So that's the time we started focusing on recruitment.
Yeah.
That was the first thing we had to do was rebuild the team, build a strong team to be competitive. So there were a lot of changes done there. And first thing we did was to recruit from our own backyard. No, we had a lot of talent there. We had Menor, we had Taganas, we had Texon, and a couple of other guys in high school that were performing well. So we made sure we recruited them and to start the rebuilding of the team. And then we were also.
What year did you return?
Sorry. What was that?
What specific year did you return, Mike, San Beda as team manager?
I think 2003 or 4. Yeah, 2004.
Okay. So you were involved in the recruitment of
Sam Ekwe.
Sam Ekwe, yeah. We had. I'm sure you all know Coach Jude Roque.
Yeah, Coach
of
Jude.
course.
Yes.
Jude was part of the staff at that time, and then he gave me a video. He said, Coach Mike, ba pwede mo tignan to si Sam Ekwe, ganyan, and he's available. And it was given by a priest from Nigeria to see if you can, bring this boy to your country and get educated. And so we just took a chance, basically. Because we had a hard time finding a center, a big man. So I just started working on his documentation, bringing him in and all that. So finally we brought him in, but the talent was very raw. In fact, I was saying, because it costs, it costs to bring for the flight and all that, recruiting. But then, thank God, slowly, he honed his skills and, he became a big asset. So that was the beginning of recruiting foreign players from Nigeria, in that part of. So when we were successful and we won, the other schools followed suit.
That's right.
That's why now
bawal na.
Ngayon nawalan.
Diba?
I think bawal na
binawal.
It's only in the NCAA na bawal.
Yeah, only the NCAA.
Yeah.
That's right. Here's a more recent picture with your coach.
Yeah.
Sonny.
This is the time when You know, there was this fundraising game ba yun? All-Star?
2003.
Tama ba yun?
All-Star.
All-Star ba yung basta the Crispa Toyota reunion game was in
Hindi,
2003. Iba pa yun.
I don't think this is what this is.
Ito, recent lang to. This must be
This is
about
more recent.
4 years ago or something.
Yeah, there might have been a game maybe for the benefit of
Yung ano, yung ano to, yung sa UNTV, I think. This was the one UNTV sa ano.
Yeah.
Sa Araneta. I was part of that also, yeah. 2018.
Yeah, there was correct, 4 teams. Ginebra, San Miguel, Alaska.
Pure Foods.
Yeah.
Pure Foods.
Yeah. So of course, Coach Sonny was the coach of the Ginebra team. And there was a couple of players na yung mga pwede pa maglaro, got together, ba? Sila Bal, David, then Joey came back to that. They asked him to come, so he came to Manila. So we would all, meet in the practice. So I went there to, see the guys, sila Rudy Distrito. I don't know.
Hindi ka na naglaro, ha? Hindi ka na naglaro.
Wala na, hindi ko na kaya. I had some knee issues.
Yeah.
Knee and mental issues. No, so I would visit them sa practice and all that, and then si Locsin, this is a place that they sa may San Juan to. What's the name of the bar?
Chiefs.
Sa Chiefs. Yeah, so Noli Locsin, and I think siya nag-host ng dinner na yan.
Nagpakain ng kambing.
So pumunta ako dyan, and then, nagkwentuhan kami ni Coach because, we haven't seen each other for a while. And then pag sa practice naman, busy siya, ba? Busy siya sa mga,
Yeah.
So we sat down and we were chatting for,
Laking bote niyan, Coach. Laking bote na nandiyan sa harapan ni Coach Sonny.
Oo nga, Wala. Pero hindi si Coach Sonny yung umiinom niyan.
Ano ba yan?
Malamang si Mike ang tumira nun, Johnny.
Laking bote ng Johnny. Yeah, Coach Mike, I want to go back lang to after your career with Ginebra ended. When you weren't renewed, may ibang teams ba na who signified their intention of signing you up, or wala na talaga?
I was being renewed, but at that time, Coach wanted to use his new recruits. That's the time of JB Gayoso, Bennett Palad, and maybe a few of them. So he was telling me, Mike, I'll put you on reserve first, and So at that time kasi, I was starting na some business, and it needed more and more time. So the balance of the work and play, ang hirap. Because you need time. If you're starting and you're starting small, maliit ang capital mo, you cannot hire people, right?
Yeah.
So parang akong gumagawa.
Okay.
Parang baga one-man show type of thing. And then, so it was taking a toll na yun sa practice, kasi practice namin is 5. So that means 4 o'clock pa lang, you should be there at least 30 minutes, or nowadays, iba. Call time is 1 hour before at least.
Yeah.
Those days, basta you're on time for practice, okay ka. So I didn't have time to rest, to recover. So I was in a crossroad at that time. So I decided, I guess it's better to stop. And then I was doing some business with Showmart. So minsan nakakausap ko yun one of the owners, the children, and he told me, that's why parang my decision became, he said, how long have you been playing? I said, for 5 years. Sabi niya, I think that's enough. Why don't you just focus on business? Sabi niya ganyan, You're not naman, hindi ka naman patrimonyo, hindi ka naman lastimosa.
Very encouraging,
Sound advice, sound business advice.
So someone I kind of thought about it. I said, I have to be fair also to, to the career, to the game.
Yeah.
if I can't give it 100%, and it's gonna affect your performance or
Yeah.
so it was very hard. It was a difficult decision. So I just told coach one day and said, Coach, that I'm just gonna ano na lang, stop and I'll start focusing on the business. So he was still convincing me to stay, or even be part of the team, something, ganyan. Be involved in the back, the backside of the So I said, sige, let me just see. But of course, the time, di kaya, And there were also certain demands, di ba?
Right.
So I had to give it.
Yeah.
Basically, it was my own choice. But then, so I just used to play recreatively, for recreation na lang, ganyan. And the village where I stayed, sila Norman Black also lived there, so nakakalaro ko rin siya, pick up games and all that, just to keep in shape. So that was like 6 months down the line or what. So he was telling me, why don't you come back or what, Because we get to play together. I said, no more. I'm out of shape. He said, no, why don't you play for Magnolia first and then get in shape and come back. Yeah. So that's why, so sa kulit niya, so I end up playing for Magnolia. The PBL. At that time, coach pa si Franz. Franz Pumaren pa with the coach and he was playing San Miguel.
Hindi ko na naalala yun, ha? Hindi ko na naalala
I don't remember that at all. Galing.
Yeah. That was...
Pero Mike, di ba, even in the PBA, you played 86 to 88, then 89, you sat out that season, right?
Basta in between, I'd sit out one.
You didn't play.
One or never a whole season.
Yeah, I remember in 89.
What?
Okay.
No, then I was also injured. It's a mix of things.
That's right.
That's the time also when Rudy Distrito joined the team. Because coach was out and then I was out. Yeah.
How was Rudy in practice? Did he give you a hard time in practice?
Yeah. It was a battle, a constant battle. Especially in the beginning, kasi hindi naman kayo magkakilala masyado, di ba? And you know how it is in the PBA, it's all about, everybody was fighting for a spot. And our practices was tough. So, si Rudy naman, pag binangga mo ng konti, di ba? Nag-iibang tingin niya. So, we would clash a lot. But then eventually, we became best friends naman.
But so in your stint with Ginebra, naka-dalawang championship ka, no? You had the 86 Open and then you had the 1988 All-Filipino against Pure Foods, di ba? And obviously you were the dehado kayo doon eh. Before the series started, kayo yung parang dehado against Pure Foods. But for some reason, there was that whole Mon Fernandez controversy, Inupusi Mon and all of that. What do you recall from that series? You think if Mon played at the top of his game and was allowed to play all those games, you think you still could have won? That the result would have been the same?
I think so. I think if we were meant to win that year, we were meant to win no matter what, no matter who was there. And remember one thing, Chito defended Mon excellently.
Yes. That's right.
If you remember that. So even if Mon Fernandez was there, we had Chito Loizaga to defend him, and that's just those are just my thoughts.
Yeah. Hirap talaga si medyo hirap si Mon kay Chito. That's true.
The game 4.
Go ahead.
Game 4. The clincher in game 4, that was actually the signature Don Ampalayo game, ano? I remember, I think he was sick, pero he scored something like 40 points. Do you remember that, Mike?
Yeah. He's a warrior, Don. Like what I said, you won't even notice. Like you said, he already scored 40 points. You won't even notice that he scored that much.
Agree.
And
nagka-rumor pa nun eh.
again, it's the mindset that how Coach Jaworski has trained us.
Mhm.
You know, there's whether may sakit ka or you're injured. You know, I know of other teams. Some slight injury, nakaupo na yan. It
Especially
never
now.
happened with the team. It never happened. You had to be really, really injured to be sitting out.
Yeah.
You can ask any of our batch or our Ginebra, even any Ginebra player,
Mhm.
if they had the guts to even say, "Oh, coach, hindi mo na ako maglalaro, masakit yung ano ko."
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, si Ricky Relosa was telling us about that also, di ba? Yung sumakit yung thigh niya and everything when Jawa was there.
Yeah. So even how sick London was, he would have played, and I guess because of the training mentally, you still perform, diba?
Mhm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Because I
they
guess
went
this
overtime.
the mental part of an individual plays a big role in winning and in performance.
Right.
So, my question naman is, so now you're retired from the PBA already, but now you have these things coming up also. The FIBL came out, the Filipino Indian Basketball League. How much of an involvement were you at the start of that, and then yung pag-propagate niya hanggang dulo until it became the IBP already? What was your special touch in establishing yung Filipino Indian basketball community in the Philippines?
My involvement was more on the coaching side. So basically, it was just developing the skills of the guys, and it became like a competition because we had other coaches like what I mentioned, no? And these are all named guys, like Coach Lea would be there, Jing Ruiz, Kaloy. So it was kind of prestigious. I mean, maybe because like they'll say, oh, this team has Mike as the coach. We should try and get somebody nasa level naman niya or something like that,
Yeah.
So maybe because of that influence, the ante was brought higher. So they had to look. Other teams had to look for other coaches that would, would be in that similar range.
Okay.
So I guess it became more exciting that way, and then we also had some media exposure.
Tama.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lumaki yung liga na yan. Naging medyo sikat yung liga. In fact, there was a time nasa TV talaga, di ba? They were showing it on BTV. BTV, di ba?
Yes, they
If I'm not
were.
mistaken, di ba? On BTV. There's a comment here. There's a comment here, Sid, about that game of Ampalayo. The fans say he scored only 20 points. Then Jawo and Joey had 27 points each in that game. I guess crucial yung mga tira ni Dondon sa dulo, di ba? Kaya siya yung para naging hero.
He was sick kasi.
That's right.
Game na yun. And, di ba nagka-rumor nga na namatay daw siya? Something like that.
Yes.
Di ba?
I think nagka-hepatitis din yata siya eventually.
Parang ganun nga yung pag-aalala ko eh. Parang hepa nga rin si Dondon that time.
Because even Joey got hepatitis and
Mike, there's a question here from one of our followers. It says, what happened to the story that Coach Jaworski didn't want to sign you because you didn't want to help him in his clothing line business? First time I heard that now, so I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Not true?
No, I don't think there was anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
May mga rumor na ganyan, no? Parang where does that come from? It's really
Kaya nga,
strange.
nadidispel natin dito eh.
So so nowadays, Mike, you're busy with your business, and that's what's keeping you busy most of the time. No basketball naman now, so there's nothing. Yeah. You're not doing anything basketball related nowadays, no?
Nothing. Since 2012, that was my last stint with San Beda.
Okay.
As team manager and Coach Jude is doing a great job.
Yeah, as the manager.
Whenever we left it, I think he's even doing a better job with all the championships they've been winning and keeping the team, up there.
Yeah. Laban every year, no? Finals sa ilang straight na yun.
Parang
Grabe.
dalawa lang yata hindi nila nakuha ang championship.
Very final sila.
Nakakuha lang ang
finals
nakadalawa lang yung letran pero basically the whole
Tapos
the past
baste, isang baste at saka dalawang letran, di ba? Ano. Pero sila lagi yung kalaban pa rin. So what a run by the San Beda Red Lions. It's been a crazy run for them. If you look at the dominance they've had in the NCAA over that period of time. Unfortunately, wala tayong liga ngayon, but hopefully that comes back soon. So great stories, no? Mula kay Mike Advani from San Beda, Red Cubs all the way to Ginebra. Diba? What a journey that was.
Pula lahat 'yon.
Oh, pula. Pero despite the fact na yun na nga, hindi ka naman babad or whatever, lots of stories, of course. And then maraming takeaways, no? Lots of lessons learned from Sonny Jaworski, from Ato Badolato, and the rest of your coaches.
Yeah.
In the midst of all of that. So thanks for sharing your stories with us, Mike. I'm gonna move on now to the segment, guys. May dadagdag pa ba kayo? May
tatanong lang kay Mike. May tatanong lang kay Mike about his post career, because someone commented earlier na you used to own a Shakey's branch daw.
No, yeah.
After you finished, because I noticed one of the photos that San Beda reunion thing was that was a Shakey's restaurant.
Yes,
so,
it was.
Is it true you own the Shakey's restaurant?
My uncles had the franchise for the Pasig area. Okay. So in the 90s, able to invest with them. And then through the years, we just started growing and expanding there. So that store that you just saw, that was in Pioneer Street. So
okay, yeah. I know that branch.
That's very near TV5. So
yeah.
I always eat there.
No, I used to live there. So yeah, I remember. I know that branch.
Yeah. So yeah, that's correct. We've been focusing also in expanding on the Shaky stores.
Okay, so and you also had, if I'm not mistaken, you also had a restaurant in BGC a few years ago.
Correct. Since we were already in the food service business, we tried our luck in opening like a semi-Indian kebab place.
Yes.
BGC.
Our mutual friend Mike Abasolo, who's also a very diehard Bedan. I used to work as a BGC. He visited me there, and then he brought me to your restaurant. And actually, you were there. You probably don't remember, pero he introduced me to you in 2013, 2014. So yeah, I remember that. You got involved in the restaurant business as well.
Many food type restaurants, but in the end, we just now focus on Shakey's and yun na muna. Yun lang.
Yun na muna. Delivery and takeout only, huh? No dine-in first.
Ngayon. But we have some stores.
My Shakey's card.
Dumating na. Ako wala pa yung Shakey's card ko, Pa-renew ko
I'll send all of you a new one.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
But I'd like to point out lang. This is one of it's a success story after basketball, no? And it's something actually you planned for, right? You finished you got your degree, you made sure you had the business, you knew you had some know-how in that field. So you planned for the future, because basketball doesn't last forever. And unfortunately, that's not the way it is for a lot of the players. We know, we've heard the sob stories and all of these, no? And then we're hoping that the PBA has helped the players by trying to educate them and trying to help them, no, on how to invest their money and all of that. And that's something we really have to help them with, diba? Kasi
especially the early part of their careers, they have to be kind of spoken to and explained and tell them, because when you're young, you feel it's you're going to be young forever and you're going to be a basketball player forever. It doesn't happen, but you have to be realistic and start planning early pa lang.
And you played 4 or 5 years in the PBA. That's about the average of PBA players. Diba? Because nobody, konti lang yung patrimonyo na, diba? Hall of 20 years, Mon Fernandez, diba? Gitabin, konti lang yan. So you have to fall back afterwards. Anyway, so we're hoping that our players learn at this stage. But anyway, so Noel, Sid, okay na, we move on to
on you.
Yeah, okay. So I have this segment, Mike, during our episode. It's called X's or O's. I'm just going to give you a bunch of choices. You just tell me what your choice is without having to explain. And we'll go through a series of choices. Okay, let's start now. Okay, number one, X's or O's. Number one, Bates or Hackett?
Bates.
Bates, okay, Bates. Hackett or Waller?
Waller.
Waller, okay. How about Waller or Bates?
Talent-wise, Bates. If you're talking about talent.
Talent? No, well, it's up to you how you appreciate that choice. So Bates pa rin, Bates, okay. How about this one? You came in 1986 ka pumasok eh. Dexter Shouse, Harold Keeling, or Rob Williams?
Maybe Keeling.
Keeling, okay. Ang kalaban nyo sa finals yan, okay. Joe Ward or Tommy Davis?
Tommy Davis.
Tommy Davis, okay. Joey or Chito? I like the smile. Like smile agad.
Chito.
Chito.
parang ano.
Parang nag-isip muna siya, no? Chito, para maasar si Joey. Diba? How about this one, Rudy Distrito or Dante Gonzalgo?
Dante Gonzalgo.
Dante Gonzalgo, okay. Don Ampalayo or Terry Saldana?
Don Ampalayo.
Don Ampalayo. Ito, Ed Ducot or Rolly Buhay?
Ed Ducot.
Ed Ducot, no. Harmon Cordillera or Romulo Mamaril?
Mamaril.
Matik yun.
Matik. How about this? The 86 Open Championship or the 88 All-Filipino Championship?
The 86.
86. You never forget your first. Okay. Mm-hmm. Basketball or business?
Basketball.
Basketball pa rin. Jawo or Badolato?
Jawo. Okay. San Beda Red or Ginebra Red? That's a tough one. San Beda.
Iba talaga yung roots. How about this one, Anthony Mendoza or Dennis Carbonilla?
Anthony Mendoza.
Okay. And then, dito, mga gwardya. Ricardo Brown or Hector Calma?
And Hector Calma.
Hector Calma. Okay. Mas Hector Calma yung laro mo eh. More than Ricardo Brown. Okay, that's it. Wait, may last pa pala. Noel, ano yung last question?
Sa akin, because you broke barriers actually, Mike, in your appearance dito. Ako muna tas ikaw, di ba, Sid?
Hindi, may kulang pa si Charlie, yung pinaka-importante.
Ay, oo nga pala, Charlie, ano ba?
Ito we have to ask this from all our guests. Nora or Vilma?
Vilma.
Yeah. Another Vilma vote. Ayan.
Okay.
Okay, sige, Noel, go.
Sige. Mine na. Thank you for reminding us, Sid. Ngayon, Mike, you actually broke barriers with your presence in basketball, being one of the first, if not the first full-blooded Indian to not only play for San Beda but also play in the PBA. How would you like to be remembered? What is your basketball legacy? How would you like to be remembered in the sport?
Siguro maybe the time I spent at San Beda, especially when we were rebuilding the team. Because we number one, of course, we built the team and with success. So there was the winning, and then we instilled a lot of discipline to the players we recruited, and most of them graduated. See, so for me, the most important thing was education. At the end of the day, it's not just the game basketball per se. We wanted these guys, the boys who are men now, to to succeed and to outperform themselves in the sport of basketball, but we wanted them prepared for the future beyond basketball. So that was the whole basic reason I wanted to go back, is to bring back Sambeda to the top and have athletes that could that could contribute to the growth of our country in the future. Okay? Not just be basketball players and then tapos na.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
Thank you. Sid.
Okay. Sid.
Well, my usual question is, who were your 5 favorite teammates, Mike?
From Beda to PBA.
Sambeda. Well, in high school, let's say high school, I had Joey, Rene Orosa, Liz Cuna. We had a Buen Camino and a Frabendorf. Yeah, so 5 of us. And Lazaro, or it's Lazaro. Then in college, of course, I had again Joey Loizaga there. I had Frankie Lim. Who else was there? Louis Brill.
Okay. Sayang din yun.
We had also Koy Banal. Koy Banal was
Coach
Oo
Koy.
nga pala. Yeah.
Oo nga pala.
Oo nga pala. Yeah.
and then there was this player we had. His name was Henry Cruel, Leo Cruel. He was 5'6". We used to call him Jawo. He played like a Jaworski. Yeah. I hope I have the tape of our San Beda LaSalle game. You know, when LaSalle was just had the first team of Danding Coangcos LaSalle, where they were really had all the best recruits. He played amazing that day.
Okay. Then in the
PBA
pro,
naman.
Sa PBA, of course, again, Joey was there. Dante Gonzalgo, Don, Distrito, and who else was there? We were close. I mean, we were also close.
yeah.
So maybe the fifth would be also Chito. Chito was also close to Chito.
Okay. That's 5.
That's it.
Okay. Very good. Dami kasi. Dami
Bitin
players.
pa to actually.
Bitin pa to, kwento. Well, anything else pa ipahabol ba, Sid?
No, I'm good. I learned so much today.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, Coach Mike. It's been an amazing 2 hours with you.
Mike, before we let you go, baka there, you've had a long journey in basketball from San Beda all the way to the PBA to post PBA career as a coach for TNT and all of that. Anybody you'd like to thank or to acknowledge in your basketball journey before we let you go?
Well, of course, we start off with all my coaches, starting from Coach Badolato to Bonnie Carbonell, and all the coaches in the PABL. From Coach Villavicencio, Virgil, I think even Coach Yengia was the assistant at that time. Ato Tolentino, Art Panganiban, with all these teams. And then, of course, the PBA, Coach Jaworski, Coach Reno. The coaches play a very big role in influencing anyone's life. So it's really, I'm very blessed to have all these great coaches, to be able to work with them and to learn from them. And of course, the team owners and team managers that, that basically everyone that I worked with in the game of basketball. I'm very blessed and thankful. You learn from everyone, even your teammates, even pati yung mga water boy who served us and masajistas,
Yeah.
They're all amazing. And I'm so happy and honored and privileged to be part of all those teams and to be part of Philippine basketball, the PBA and the NCAA. Basically,
Okay.
that's yeah.
Huh?
Thank you.
Very
Thank
good.
you, thank you.
Very good. Well, thanks a lot
Thank you
for
also,
gracing
too.
our show and coming and sharing
Yeah.
your stories tungkol sa San Beda at sa Ginebra and everything else in between and around those stints. Of course, you bleed red. We know that. Red is your favorite color because of San Beda and Ginebra. And it's been a red day for us. Good day para sa
Yeah.
eternity of basketball. We had some technical glitches at the start, but we were
Yeah,
able
sorry.
to push through with the show. And one last plug from Noel Zarate before we call it a day. Go, Noel.
Yeah, sorry. I'm into this new business. I'm selling sardines, ngayon, bottled sardines. Those of you who want to try, I have 5 variants of these sardines. It's called Mrs. Z's Kitchen. Yeah, I have the hot and spicy one that I'm holding, and I'll have this for my lunch right now. But we do have 5 varieties of the sardines. We also have bangus at saka tuyo. So kung sino mga may gustong humingi, si Sid, binigyan ko na, hindi pa kinakain. Si Charlie, mag-order na yan very soon. Maybe Coach Mike, you want to try our sardines as well. But for all of those who want to try it out, yeah, just send me a PM. Yeah, just send me a PM, and I will oblige. Thank you very much for this
Ayan.
opportunity.
Sardinas si Noel Zarate, ha? I-friend nyo
Mrs.
siya
Z's
sa
Kitchen,
Facebook
yeah.
para po with
Yep.
Mrs. Z. Okay. On that note, Sardinas, that's the end of episode 77, ha? Double Jaworski for Ginebra player Mike Advani. Thank you for joining our show. Sa ngalan ni Noel Zarate at ni Sid Ventura, ako naman po si Charlie Cuna. This has been an Eternity of Basketball. Episode 77 is now in the books. For episode 78, go to our Facebook page. We will announce our next guest in the next couple of days. I'm pretty sure ma-excite kayo sa susunod nating guest dito sa ating show.
Yes.
So guys, thank you so much. Mike, salamat for everything
Salamat.
and thank you for coming to our show. All right, guys,
Thank
we're
you, Mike.
signing off right now. Episode 77. Adios. Salamat.
Adios. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.